Oh, for crying out loud. Now let's try that sound. There we go. All right. Might help if I turn the mic on. All these little buttons. One day I will achieve competence at live streaming. It's all on me. Anyway, hey everybody. Glad to be here. Welcome to Critical Conversations for New Year's Day 2021.
Yes.
We survived.
We did.
We did. And if you are watching us, you did too. And that's an achievement. That is something to be proud of. That is something to look upon yourself with happiness, joy, pride, even a certain degree of ecstasy. And yes, my age is definitely showing. All right, so here we are trying this out again. So, critics out there, welcome to our Friday live stream. And of course, you can see I am joined as usual by my beautiful wife, Melissa.
Hello.
Always happy to have her here.
Always happy to be here.
Yes, seriously so. And I thought we would just put a cap on 2020 today. You know, what do you think? I think that's a good idea, is just like finish it. Now, I have actually been in this mode all day, because I got up today and then had to go do a little bit of research and looking and reading to put together my podcast, which I also recorded, just finished rendering it out, which is also the year in review, yearly traditional, sensibly speaking podcast where I go over all the news from Scientology and the court cases and the things from Tony's blog and the stuff I covered on this channel. For example, we had Kat, who had infiltrated the Church of Scientology of Austin. And that was a great interview. This was the year I interviewed Christina Richardson. She came out here and we did a 3-part interview about her time in Scientology. And some other real interesting interviews on the podcast this year, too. As some stuff, you know, when you look back over, you forget how much you get done, how much 365 days is, and how much you did in that time. And we got so consumed with COVID, so consumed with the election cycle and with the bad politics and bad politicking and the COVIDing and bad COVIDing and masking and bad masking and all this stuff.
Masking.
And no masking and all this stuff. We were so... OT8 helped me from getting COVID. Yeah, exactly. The voter fraud stuff. So all this stuff that consumes so much of our anxiety, worry, attention, stress, freak out. I mean, we had tons of it here in this household, and we're pretty chill people. All things considered, we're not your go crazy kind of people, but I think this year was a test for all of us. Unfortunately, it appears that we'll be continuing to be tested. It's not like a binary, well, that was bad and this is going to be good, because it's kind of more... overnight, yeah. Yeah. We have... Anyway, yeah, exactly. But as people are correctly pointing out, John Atack was on a couple times. As people are saying, there have been much, much worse times. And in fact, I pulled this. I use this in my podcast today, too, and I will read this because I do think it is so apropos. It is one of my favorite quotes, and I find it almost humorous to me a little bit that history doesn't repeat, but it echoes. As I think that's the Mark Twain or someone misattributing that.
Somebody famous.
Yeah, somebody famous said that, and I like it, so I'll repeat it. And this quote comes from Dickens. This is one of my favorite literary quotes, actually, from A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epic of belief. It was the epic of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. And I guess depending on how this year has treated you and you've treated this year, where you come out in that. But I think that was a, appropriate way of describing 2020. Hey, Philippines. Yeah, okay. Now, call-in line, 984-214-4154. This is a call-in show, and I would love to talk to you guys about how your year went. The good, the bad, the ugly, anything you want to comment on, anything you want to ask us about. This is, the thing about the themes for our show is it's a springboard from which we can start talking, but, I am completely fine with talking to you guys about whatever you want. And, of course, we had a lot of nonsense happen this year in the Scientology watching world, in the cult world, and probably... For me, of course, the biggest thing was getting started in university. That was the big, huge, monstrous thing that I did not see coming this year, but was probably the best using the disadvantages of COVID to my advantage to have something creative and hopefully useful happen in my life. That's a good thing moving forward. What would you say was... Did you have anything like that unexpectedly big, good, bad? I mean, it doesn't particularly matter. I'm totally putting you on the spot right now, but any sort of thing you had for this year was notable for you for 2020?
I mean, I guess for me, I just feel like it's the lack of everything, and didn't expect it to be so lacking in social activity, and it's just been kind of like, okay, same day over and over again, and I'm just tired of that. So
yeah, definitely hear you on that.
I expected to be traveling more and doing more, and it's just like we're doing nothing.
No, it's true. It's true. It's been a real problem. I know. As far as your questions, hey, well done on your son starting a PhD program, by the way. That's awesome. Yeah, Groundhog Day. That's certainly a phenomena that I have dealt with before. Oh, hey, thanks, Mark. Thank you for that super chat. Awesome. Yeah, Xine asked about this week's studies. I have been working on my term essay, my formative essay for this coercive control class. For this first term, it was a nightmare trying to decipher the question in my mind and translate academia so that I could understand what was being asked of me. It took me a little while longer than it should have to figure that out. But that's part of the learning process. That is completely self-criticism that I'm just learning as I'm going here. But now that I've got my wits around it, I have been researching, and this last week actually was rather intense because I have been reading a number of papers. I got stacks of papers off camera that you guys can't see of stuff I've been printing. And I've been doing the dive on human trafficking, which is, oh, hey, thanks, Teresa, for that super chat. Awesome. Human trafficking is part of one of the domains in which we are looking at how coercive control is utilized or how abusive behaviors is done. You have domestic violence or inter-partner violence is one domain that we are studying. And that is where the term, by the way, I actually learned this week, the term coercive control wasn't invented by Evan Stark, but he's popularized it in the domestic violence world. And he's been writing books about this and using this terminology. So coercive control is something you'll hear most often connected with domestic violence. But the term and the degree I'm doing covers not just the domestic violence realm or domain, as we're calling it, but also cults and extreme groups and human trafficking. And at first, when I started diving into it, it wasn't clear to me how human trafficking, yes, of course, you're exerting coercive control over people. But I thought, boy, it's so different from what's going on in some of these, in domestic violence, for example. But I have learned that I was not correct in that assessment, and in fact, human trafficking laws are how Keith Raniere got taken down, or Renier, or whatever, Raniere, the Nexium guy, right? It was trafficking, and it was sex trafficking that actually were the counts brought against him, as well as conspiracy charges. So it wasn't culty laws. There are very few laws in America that have to do with cults or extremist groups or activity. And undue influence as a legal concept and term is pretty much relegated to contract law and wills and testaments. So you can't really bring an undue influence case very easily against somebody who's been coerced in a destructive cult. And there aren't very many laws here in the U.S. Directly dealing with coercive control as a subject, not like there is in the U.K., where they have passed domestic violence laws, specifically using the terminology of coercive control, using Robert Lifton's model of milieu control and some of his 8 points. Some of this stuff is coming together in that domain, but we're still a little out in the wind as far as laws on the books for cults. And that's basically, I'm talking about all this because this is the subject matter of the essay that I'm writing and where all of my attention is at. And I thought you might be interested in some of that too. So there we go. Here's a good question. How much of your lacking of education while growing up in Scientology has hurt you now in academia? Not a lot, because I had a decent public school education. I graduated well enough out of high school. I wasn't a reject, or I wasn't a loser as far as that goes. But what's been challenging about this is going back to academia after 35 years or so, and the pressures of it, the expectations of it, some some coming back from my schooling stresses that I hadn't thought of or experienced in a really long time. And the fact that I've jumped forward straight into a master's program definitely put more of a, steepness on the curve, because I had to catch up on statistics, on psychology itself as a topic. I didn't do Psych 101 or 102. So I had to go read up on all that stuff because I'm doing a psych program. Makes sense, right? So I had to learn about all that. So it's mostly just been a matter of catching up. So, yeah. Hey, Nick. All right. Cool. Just seeing some other comments there. Yeah, human trafficking is a huge, huge problem. Oh, here's a good question for you, Mel.
I'm trying to think about that. If I had one wish and only one wish, what would I wish for and why? Oh. There's so many things I want to wish for. That's the problem. I don't know which one would be like the best one to wish for. I don't know. Probably to stop being diabetic. That's what I've been thinking about lately. Because I'm tired of being type 1 diabetic and having to deal with all that.
Yeah. Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Do I have a hidden talent? I don't know. They're not really hidden.
Well, thank you, Teresa. I would say, if I had one wish, what's occurring to me right now, I think the longer I think about this, the more selfish I'm going to get with my wish. So I'm just going to throw it out and say, I would wish that human beings, that like everybody on the planet, all the human beings from here on out would actually have critical thinking skills on the level of, a Carl Sagan or a Neil deGrasse Tyson, like that level of, or a Sam Harris or a Christopher Hitchens or something, right? Like a real high level of not necessarily, Oxford education, but just critical thinking skills, just the ability to assess arguments and understand that this is important, to how we should live our lives. And I don't know. It's probably too broad, too general. I would
Yeah.
flunk the legalese of it. It'd probably backfire on me. But that's sort of what I'm thinking as a concept of what I think would lift up humanity in a significant way, without in any way putting some moral burden or moral panic on everybody, and biasing everybody too much in one direction or another or something. I wouldn't want, well, if everybody would just accept Jesus in their heart, like I could see some massive problems with that, kind of thing. You guys are so awesome. These are great comments. But I think that you not having diabetes would be completely awesome too.
Yeah.
I would be completely 100% okay with that.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. It's a burden. No question about it.
Yeah.
Okay, again, 984-214-4154 if you would like to call in and talk with us. The phone lines are open. And I think we should check in with 7. Yep, there's our 7 cam.
Hiding away in his little cubby.
That's right. The bottom of his tree. It's so small. You wouldn't think he could fit in there.
But he does. He's little. Can fold himself up pretty well.
It's actually kind of amazing how they do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he was pretty chill. He's pretty chill today, as usual. So, yeah, schools definitely could be doing a lot more to teach some better critical thinking skills. Oh, good. You got the critical thinking cards. Excellent. Yes, we will not forget our fallacy of the week this week. All right. So I would like to go over a couple of, I've just pulled this up kind of randomly, but I thought some of this might be a little fun to talk about. There were some of the best and worst of 2020. Mostly I'm pulling from pop culture because I think we all will agree that the worst was really worst. And we've talked so much about it. I don't know that we really need to go into a whole lot more detail about how worse was. But some bits and pieces. And apparently there's a Friends reunion coming. Not really a best and worst for me, but somebody thought that was good. Let's see. Apparently the worst idea for a new perfume this year was Robert Pattinson, who made a weird personal admission in February that lots of people tell him that he smells like a crayon. So
like a what?
Like a crayon.
Like a crayon?
A crayon, yeah. So if you're wondering what Robert Pattinson smells like.
So he's like waxy?
Smells like wax. Apparently a lot of people say that. Now, of course,
it's an interesting thing to smell like.
Isn't it?
Really?
Yeah, I don't quite totally get it either, but now, clearly, and I hope some of you guys remember this one of the best moments of 2020 actually was the horror show of Tiger King. Remember the Tiger King? We even did a show on it about the cult of Tiger King because there was some really coercive, really abusive behavior going on with this guy, Joe Exotic, and the Netflix special Tiger King. And this guy is still in jail, probably not coming out. Certainly an interesting distraction, if nothing else. And apparently there has been legislation moved forward this year that Carol Baskins would be quite happy about because it protects and I think prohibits private ownership of certain big cats or certain big animals. And I didn't pull up the story, but I remember that happening this year and thinking that I guess Carol Baskins is winning after all.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Not sure what to think about that, but
what's his face is in jail and
yeah. But I would be okay with that doc Andler, Doc,
Something.
something like that. That guy who had the little harem of women helping him, the young women. I think he was over in West Virginia, over on the East Coast,
Yeah.
and he had a big cat facility, a big zoo type facility. Doc Antilli, I think his name was. And if there was anybody on that show, I mean, Joe Exotic was bad, but this guy really had red flags going off up one side and down the other, as far as I was concerned. On
Cult-like stuff.
oh my God, yeah. Not to mention, what are they doing with the animals and stuff? Oh, right. Let's see. What else did we get? Now, I never did see this Parasite movie. Did you? Did you? See that?
I never saw it.
Have any of you guys see Parasite? This was this Korean, South Korean film. Got Best Picture. Oh yeah, first non-English language film to ever win Best Picture Oscar.
Wow.
So yeah, didn't see it. Told it was good, but always not quite sure if that's a movie I want to see or not. Let's see. We had Harvey Weinstein go to jail.
Woohoo.
we were quite happy to see that happen. What? Oh yes. Worst use of downtime this year. Remember that Imagine video that those celebrities put out? That Gal Gadot led. Mark Ruffalo, Natalie Portman. There, between that video, I can't quite decide for myself which of the two videos I think were most cringeworthy. There was the Imagine video, and then there was the one with all the celebrities who were saying they were taking responsibility for racism, which I thought was a little bit much. Yeah, and some people on that video I don't really care too much about, but seeing Aaron Paul contribute to that nonsense
was unfortunate.
It was cringy. I was not impressed by that. You take a basically good effort, good intention. I mean, it's not like I'm knocking anybody for their good intentions. But there are ways you can manifest those intentions in a productive, constructive way, and there are ways that you do it. You just go, I know you thought this was going to be a good idea, but it really wasn't, and you should have run it by a few other people first. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Modern Family after 11 seasons. I don't think I've seen one episode. Best gift to the publishing industry, and I can comment on this one because this was John Bolton's The Room Where It Happened, which I read. At least I read the first. It's a 450-page book, and I read the first 300 pages, and pretty much it was this, sort of the same format, same formula over and over and over again, chapter and verse, based on John Bolton's notes, extensive notes that he makes as part of his job as National Security Advisor, and he held that job for a year. And John Bolton is not somebody whose politics or foreign policy ideas I agree with in very many ways. There's very few things that I would say I agree with John Bolton on. But he certainly had an interesting inside view on the inner workings of the government under Trump in the security and foreign affairs zones. And I found his observations to be interesting. And if you differentiate the facts he reports on from the opinions, then you get a terrifying view of how random our foreign policy decision-making process has been over the last 4 years. And it's already bad enough under the other presidents in terms of how random it is, but this was really a bit much. So it was an interesting book, and I will say that much. I did not look into Trump's niece's book too much and never enough, because after reading Bolton's book and watching about three Netflix documentaries on Trump, I was like, okay, I get it. I get the monster factory he was raised in. I understand how he's a product of his environment. I get where he's at. I get where his head's at. I understand the inner circle and the outer circles and of Trump land and how that world works. And I don't want to know anything more about it. I've invested so many hours in Donald Trump in the last 4 years. I am really happy to never talk about him again. I'll be okay with that if that's the way it goes. We have a call. Let us take this
boy.
call.
Hi,
Hello.
good afternoon. Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Happy New Year, Chris and Melissa. This is me, Ascari Navarro.
Hey, Ascari.
Hello.
Good to hear from you. How's it going?
Going good. I'm doing pretty great. I know this year was crazy as shit. I was just like, oh my fucking God. I was just like, will this ever end? But like deep down though, like at least I'm grateful to still work. I'm so grateful to be active in like organizations here and there. I still have fortunate to at least have people who I care about. And I know this year was tough, especially like having friends who lost family because of the virus that we're dealing with, and even like having friends who have even battled it as well.
Yeah. You had friends who actually got COVID?
Yeah, a few friends of mine from both my old job, from my old job and my current job also had it as well. And unfortunately, I've also had friends who've lost family members because of this, which I repeated earlier.
Right.
Even some really close. Yeah, and it's crazy because you never know what can happen. And I know this year was shitty, but I really hope that at least this year, though, like we at least have a chance to recover.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, I feel like it's going to be a process, though, because I know there's going to be a lot of shit that's going to happen. But every year, everything's going to happen. So it's like nothing can be promised.
Exactly. I think you're right. I think that we got a lot of logistics figuring out and work to do to get these vaccine distribution going at a mad rate, deal with the misinformation about vaccines and about this one in particular, and get people over their hesitancy and fear about it, and reconnect people at an individual level. I mean, from the bottom to the top, there's so much work to do.
Exactly. And this year, I decided I'm going to get the vaccine. Good. I decided, you know what? I'm going to get the vaccine because I know I'm also an essential worker.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just got another shot today. I had to get one of those tetanus shots because something happened to me in my foot, but I'm doing okay, thankfully, but at least I'm happy that, at least I'm glad that at least I got the shot before anything had happened, and I'm going to get tested again, so hopefully let's see how it goes. So, yeah, and I'm thankful to at least take good care of myself here and there, and at least wash my hands, wear my mask, especially at my job, though. I wear both my mask, my gloves, and my shield.
Okay. Can I ask, what do you do?
I'm also like a job coach slash assistant for a company, for an organization that's in Huntington Park, California. It's called Partners in Employment Development. I work for and it's a part of like a bunch of like co groups as well, which I'm not the best at explaining things, but I'm not the best at explaining things, but it's also like because it's part of like a service in California which serves families with children with disabilities to adults with developmental disabilities as well, because I also have a disability myself and I'm also autism. But I also and I'm happy to be working there since 2019. And I know this year has been rough, and I'm very fortunate to at least work at the office. But right now, I can't say fully much though at the moment, because of my job. But I'm just very happy to at least help participants who are getting involved in it, participants, and even helping coaches themselves. And I know this year has been crazy because I've been always looking forward to work at the office. I know it's been a difficult year, but I'm at least fortunate to at least have at least not just a job though, but an experience though. But the things I really do miss though is hanging out with my friends, or traveling, or even going to Disneyland with family, or even just like being on your own, which is something that I really miss. And I know it's going to take a while though. And honestly, like I feel like once things get back to, I'm gonna feel like a 5-year-old at a candy store.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's going to be a baby boom. I think
Yeah.
there's going to be which we'll see, you know, it's going
Soon.
to take a while for that to roll out. But because I'm thinking like a year or two from now, but I think there's going to be that, and I think we're going to see I think that some of the enforced isolation might help overcome some of the political barriers that people have been raising through family, and help, you know, just the fact of wanting to get back together, you know, I think that might help. I'm really sucky at predictions, but I'm hoping at least that is the case, so that we'll have a little bit easier transition, you know what I mean, politically.
Yeah, exactly. Because even for me though, I'm supportive for Black Lives Matter. I'm also in support for trans rights, LGBT rights,
Sure.
and so on though. And I'm also I'm also a liberal, but I also am someone who does care about what's going on as well, because I know my parents don't like the fact that I take things very seriously, but I do, because it's also part of what I think and what I feel. But I also want this year to at least get better, but also get a chance to heal, because I know it's going to take. I know the first few months are not going to be easy for everyone, but I know that's going to happen. But I definitely do hope to get the vaccine too. And I know it's not easy, because whenever I get vaccinated, especially because this year I took the flu shot, and even though my arm was sore, but it was at least worth it though, because in case if I do get sick, it's not going to be as bad as it is what's currently going though. But I'm really at least fortunate to at least still be here and breathe, and
Exactly.
and
Cool, man. Well, I'm glad to hear from you, and I am sorry that you know, it has been a bum year for all of us, but you're holding up, I'm holding up, and I think we're gonna do better this year.
Yeah.
But thanks for calling in. I enjoy hearing from you.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to hear from you guys again though, but definitely though, happy this 2020, here's for a new beginning.
Exactly. All right, man. Talk to ya.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year. All right, cool. You can be busy and not make a baby. Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there, but I'm thinking that I think we're going to see something with that. Because if I remember right, haven't Italy, Japan, America, I think the UK, birth rates have been going down.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing, given our population numbers, by the way. I'm not advocating that I want a baby boom. I'd be okay with population dwindling a little bit, to be honest with you. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, we're getting a couple questions here. Robert asked, somebody asked something about, oh, there it is. Has there been a person who joined Scientology just to disconnect from their crazy family? I've been thinking of joining Scientology recently for that reason, and also to join the Sea Org. Robert, I hope you're joking.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, because that's nuts. No, I have never heard of anybody joining Scientology to get away from and disconnect from their crazy family. That would be... I'm just going to assume that's sarcasm, because it's kind of silly. But no, I've not seen that. All right. Yeah, no Scientology is definitely the better way to do Scientology. Mm-hmm. We, by the way, are ready and rocking on the vaccine. I'd do it right this second if I could.
Yeah.
I got no problem with taking this vaccine, and I look forward to the moment when I get to the distribution level where they do it to me.
When it's your turn.
Yeah. So that's my thing. And I highly, highly encourage everybody to get on board with science. And, you know, if you need to go do some research, go do some research. But for God's sake, don't do your research on any of the major cable news networks.
No.
Just none of them. Okay. I'll rail against Fox News all day, but that's just not where to go for accurate science information. There's a lot of portals out there where you can get good data, and you can research how these vaccines were created, how they were research created, produced, distributed, all of it. And I encourage you to do so, because there is nothing like, if there is anything that I have learned from this college experience so far, it is that you really want to, when it comes to the important stuff, it's good to go to the source. Studies say, headlines read, study says, new research shows, science says. You might as well, science communication's so poor these days that if you don't go verify with the study itself, you really can't be sure that what you're reading is factual, because I've seen too many examples where the headlines get it totally wrong. And you don't have to be a statistician or a college graduate to read, I'm not talking about going into the neuroscience papers or, the immunology papers, but you can, there are levels in between where you can get some information about this stuff. And I only am going on at a mad rate about it because I want to encourage you guys to be informed, to inform yourself about this stuff. Don't take my word for it. Find out for yourself, but please do act to do so, because this is too important of a subject for us to just keep letting slide and believe the pseudoscientific nonsense that gets, scattered around. All right.
For the most part, vaccines are safe. Yeah, there's a small percentage of people that might have reactions, but
that's right. I don't have a preference on which vaccine, by the way. I'm okay with any of them. If they're through the line, do it. I think there's a 2-phase one, and then there's one that's just one shot.
I don't know.
I think it's that way. I would prefer the one, one and done.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I think it's where I think the cold one, the really the one that has to be stored at the
negative 100 and something.
Yeah, I think it's the Pfizer one. I think that's you get one dose and then 9 days later, I think there's another one. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. Or if they're both 2-phase, then that's fine. I wasn't sure about that one. Slovenia. Hello, Slovenia. Okay, so they're both 2 doses. Okay, got it. There's Moderna and there's Pfizer. There's another one too that's doing, maybe it's still getting approval.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Anyway, like I said, this is why you don't listen to me about it. Go get yourself informed. All I'm saying is if I had the opportunity, I would go do it right now. Cafe Nervosa, are you guys like a couple? Yes, we are like a couple. We're like a couple. Yeah. All right. Good. So let us check in with 7 again, because that is an obligation we have. He looks exactly the same. That should not be a surprise.
Yeah.
At this point.
He's just sleeping.
He just, that's what he does. I wish one of these days we could get him. He's just so camera averse, guys. He really I wish I could show you when we pull out a camera and he sees it.
He just runs.
He bolts. He just turns around and runs. So, because there are times when he's actually moving around where we could try to get him, but not when we have the camera out. Then he won't. Then
he'll
do
just stop moving.
3:30 in the morning. My goodness. Wow, Finland. That is dedication.
Yeah, it is.
Well, welcome to the show. Awesome. North Carolina. Cool. Yeah, our little fluff ball. Oh, this shirt, by the way, is Xenu is my... What does this one know? Xenu is my rock. Yes, that's right. And that's how I roll. That's what this shirt is. This is one of my Scientology parody shirts. You can get this and other wonderful, amazing, and funny or whatever merchandise at my Critical Merchandise website. All right, 240. My goodness. All right. So
someone wants to know how old 7 is. He is 14. Yes, he is. He's an old boy.
He is an old boy. That's why he's not so jumpy.
Yeah, that's why he's not so hyper anymore.
Yeah. He used to just kind of sit right here.
Yeah, when he was a little kitten, he would sit on my shoulder and nuzzle my ear. It was very adorable.
And sort of bounce around, little fur ball. That was way before my time, but Melissa's told me about these things and shown me pictures. So, yes, I do know Leah Remini personally. We are friends. She has said so that's why I say that. Because I don't presume to put myself in her circle, but she's a great person, and we do stay in touch. Yeah. All right, I am going to. I have not listened to all of Leah's Fair Game podcasts. I have been too busy with my university studies and stuff to do a whole lot of spare time stuff. It's mostly been, when I do chill, it's been video games. Stardew Valley. Love Stardew Valley, by the way.
Yes,
Cannot recommend that game enough. It's fault.
Well, technically, it's my stepsister's
all her fault. Yeah, and her stepsister for introducing her to it. I had not known video games have been difficult for me because all the first person shooters and things I thought I was interested in are a little too complicated for me. I'm the old fuddy-duddy now. It's awful. It's awful. I used to be the young guy who was the computer guy. I was the computer guru guy. I grew up on computers. I was the guy debugging and telling people how silly they were that they couldn't figure it out. And now I'm that guy. So on the other end of it. So it kind of sucks. Okay. So yes. Oh, Henny. Yes, the stimulus. $600 is a pittance for survival by the fucking way. I will have to agree with you on that, Henny.
That's nothing. There's people out there that are hurting so bad for work.
That's right. Hey, Jeff. Welcome to the show. Cool to have Jeff Hawkins on board. Yes. Okay, let us jump to our fallacy of the week because we might be doing a slightly shorter than usual episode, and that would be okay. And I do not want to forget our fallacy of the week. Now, this is my deck of critical thinking cards. I'm not promoting these as I'm getting any commission off of them at all. This is not product placement. Just letting you guys know, I got this deck of critical thinking cards. They're awesome, and you can get them too. And on each card is a logical fallacy or a cognitive bias. Some kind of bias that we all will share, or many of us share, such as a sunk cost fallacy. And I'm going to pull one at random for our fallacy, and that will be ambiguity. I don't think we've covered this one before. All right, so your fallacy is ambiguity. Using double meanings or ambiguities of language to mislead or misrepresent the truth. Okay, so this can be a logical fallacy. We talk about loaded language, and maybe this is a subset of that, but this is its own kind of logical fallacy as well. The example they give is when the judge asked the defendant why he hadn't paid his parking fines, he said that he shouldn't have to pay them because the sign said, "Fined for parking here." And so he naturally presumed that it would be fine to park there. Ambiguity. So, yeah, that is a language fast one. So there you go. Clever manipulation of semantics. That's exactly right.
And to put DM's mind at ease, yes, Seven gets checked for kidney disease all the time. I have a special healthcare kind of plan thing for him, and we go to the vet at least twice a year.
Yes. Seven is one very well cared for kitty. That is true. Yeah. He gets his checkups. We check his teeth, his weight, all of that stuff. So, without sunk cost ambiguity, the law is no excuse. Yeah, well, that's true. Where did I get the critical thinking cards? I actually got these. I borrowed these from the Secular Hub. Yeah, That's right. Well,
and
it's
now
not,
the building isn't there anymore.
The building's not there now. So it's like, believe me, these are being put to better use than they would have been otherwise. But yes, I might have creatively borrowed them. So there you go, guys. All right. I think we will go ahead and start wrapping up for this week. Yes, I know, thou shalt not steal. These are not the 10 Commandment cards. All right, guys. So, I think we'll start wrapping up. I do hope that you guys will check out my longer podcast this week, which I'll post tomorrow, which is my full year in review. And I cover a lot more Scientology-related content there on that podcast for this last year and commentary on that. And then, of course, we will have a recorded Q&A this week on Sunday that you guys can check out, and I will answer your questions. So that is it. We are done with 2020. We are finishing up with this, and we are not going to have any more of it, and we are going to move into 2021. Now, my predictions, I will finish my university degree. That is my one solid prediction for 2021. It is not a certainty right now. This is a tough program, but I am going to do this. I am determined to do it, and I'm going to get through it. So that is my biggest prediction for my world in 2021. Did you have any star high goals you wanted to put out there?
Star high goals.
Predictions, ideas for 2021?
I just hope that the vaccine and everything comes out soon enough so I can do like some traveling this year. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to mention any of that stuff about the language stuff?
We can, yeah.
Okay, just, we talked about how we were going to be moving and how that didn't happen this year because of COVID. But Mel actually did some education work of her own this year.
Yeah, I got my TEFL, the English. It's so that I can teach English online or English as a second language. I could do it in person too, but I got the online part as well just so I can do that. So if we do move out of country, I have the ability to teach English.
There you go. And you've actually been tutoring people online.
Yeah.
She's been working with people. Mm-hmm. She's been learning Spanish. It's been wonderful. It's actually been quite a year for language for you. And reviewing grammar and stuff too.
Yeah.
This is funny because grammar is a subject that I don't have a lot of trouble with only because I had to cover it so thoroughly in Scientology.
Yeah.
There's even a grammar book that's a Scientology written grammar book. And it's not written by L. Ron Hubbard. He just said, write a grammar book. And then a bunch of people did it, as far as I understand. Jeff, if you're still around, maybe you can confirm that for me in the comments. But as I understand it, it was not actually written by Hubbard. And I learned a lot of grammar because I didn't just have to do the class. I had to supervise this class called the Key to Life course, which has this huge grammar component. So anyway, so grammar has always been kind of a thing for me, but for most people, they cover it in 11th grade and never want to touch it again. And and rightfully so, because it could be a bloody nightmare, right? I actually learned a bit of a simplified version of some aspects of grammar that helped a lot with that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so it's been a bit of a real learning year in the Shelton household. So predictions wise, as far as us go, we're gonna continue with that. We don't have any plans on moving this year because of the other things that kind of are going on. 2022, we'll see. We'll have to see where we're at.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on that one. But continuing this channel, continuing our shows, continuing to talk to you guys is absolutely still on the agenda for the rest of this year, no question about it. So we look forward to continuing to interact with you guys and having a good time.
Definitely.
All right. And now there is somebody in the queue. So let's go ahead and take this because I love calls. Hello, you are on.
Yeah. I was wondering what President what said if a scavenge actually got COVID.
I do not believe that David Miscavige got COVID.
What would happen? What do you think happened to Scientology world if he did?
Oh, if he did, nobody would know. No,
That's probably true.
it would be locked down. That it would be very high security, need to know kind of information. It would not be generally known. He would not admit to it. There would be a handful of people who would even know that happened.
And how do you think guys would react to 50,000 non-Scientologists flooding downtown Clearwater?
Not sure on that one. But continuing this channel. Oh, you got to turn me down in the background a little bit there. I think Miscavige would have a little bit of a coronary if that many people were coming at them in Clearwater. 50,000's a lot of people.
Non-Scientologists.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I get it. No, that'd be a little scary for him, I think.
One thing I'd love to do is see is a couple thousand people stand in front of the security cameras and give them the bird all at the same time.
Yes, that might be mildly amusing, for sure.
What's he gonna do? Send out his goons to harass a couple hundred people?
Yeah, no, they would definitely hide. Is what they would do. They would definitely hide, as well they should. All right, hey, thanks for calling. I'm gonna let you go because we're gonna wrap up here. But thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome, man. Nice hearing from you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. Yeah. Anything else we want to say?
I think I'm okay.
Good. All right, me too. Yeah. See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.